Welcome, everyone. This is, of course, episode. Now, what episode is it, Huey? What episode?
300.
Wow, 300 episodes. 7 years ago, we had an idea, and it has certainly mushroomed and gone into sort of a big way now. Now we
Yeah,
have
we
full
said
time.
we said we'd be doing it for 3 or 4 months, and then COVID will be over with, and it will be done with it. It'll be a
That,
fun for a short time.
yeah, now we have a 7 day a week non-paid job. Anyway, we're having a lot of fun for sure, and thank you everyone for your support. We'll be talking about more of that later. We're going to introduce a bunch of people and explain what our plans for this new year, and we'll be doing that for sure, and that we have a video for you all about that. A couple of quick housekeeping things. Remind everybody about our premiere video, which is episode 250. There's three selections. These should be all public now. I made them public just before the show. And although those of you who have our newsletter, and if you haven't subscribed to our newsletter, it really is something where you keep in touch with us. It has a lot of resources. It's mostly a resource orientated, tell you what we're doing with some good articles that we put in it. So if you haven't subscribed to that, if you want to put your name in the chat right now or with your email address, I'll set it up for you, or you can just go to our website and set it up. Anyway, the Premiere version is using AI to search, and that's by me. And then New Year's cleaning of your Windows machine, Bill James. And Huey's going to talk about PowerPoint, creating a GIF from your PowerPoint slides. So it should be it's a really good educational, or it's a good video, and I would encourage you to watch that. We also, as I said earlier, we've made some changes to our website to make things easier to use and cleaned it all up. So if you do have a chance to have a look at that, that would be great. And let me know if we can do anything to make things better. But the important thing is, if you get confused about something, you can't find anything, if you go to our website, www.techforsenior.com, you can watch the show right there. You just click the button. The show is right there. You can watch it. And the other thing is, our newsletter is all on there as well. Just click the top right and it'll take you right to the newsletter. So I use that all the time if I'm trying to find something rather than going in and logging into MailChimp and finding the newsletter, I just use our website. So it's a handy thing to do. So just remember that it's all there for you. Hugh, I think I think I'm just going to start to play our videos that we've provided. I think and that will explain everything. And then we might have a little chat afterwards. Okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Is that okay?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Well, good morning, everybody. It is January the 5th, 2026, and it's episode, Huey, 300. We are now in season 7. So listen, nice planning. It was your idea to start to get all this ducks in a row. So we planned that season 7 would be episode 300. Well done.
Yes, and it's a new year, and just everything starting over again. Let's us start over again.
Yeah. So anyway, what we really want to do is we want to talk today to everybody on the show and talk a little bit about what our plans for season 7 are, because things are a little bit different and we wanted just to set everything straight. The point that I want everyone to understand is that we're happy. We're ready to go. We're fired up about season 7, and everything is going to be there for another year. No worries about that. Everything is going to be fine. But we have made a couple of changes. Now, I think you've probably already sort of thought about this, but let me address our Thursday show. Our Thursday show, of course, is Tech News of the Week. We've been doing that for 6 years. It's a fun show to do. Huey and I and all the people that work on it love it. It's really great. The only problem is, Huey and I are working 7 days a week. I think we want a bit of a holiday. This is
7 days. I think we're working 8 and 9 a week.
That's right. So we've decided that, we're going to put it on pause for a year. We're not saying we're not going to do the Thursday show anymore, but we're going to put it on pause for a year. And what we're going to do is we're going to do the tech news of the week as we've been doing for the past month. And I think everybody enjoys that. We enjoy it. We like that. It's easy to do. And we're going to do this as a regular 10-minute session at the beginning of the show. And I think we've had some very positive responses about that. I think that will solve the tech news issue, and that's our plan for the next year. All right, so there you go. Now, as far as the show goes, the other big announcement we have, and we are so excited about this, is I want to introduce everyone to Murray Strome. Murray, of course, I will read his bio in a minute, but he's of course been a long follower of the show for many years, and I think everybody knows Murray. And I'll read his bio in a minute. His bio is very, very impressive. He's a very smart guy, but we're not actually going to use some of his technology stuff in the area of his expertise, because he's going to be doing genealogy, which of course he is, again, an expert in. And so Murray is going to be doing a genealogy section twice a month, and you'll be seeing that on the show, and he's premiering that today, and his session today will be DNA technology in genealogy. So thank you, and we do appreciate Murray's and we do appreciate Murray joining our group. I wanted to just read his bio briefly here and let you know that he has over 70 scientific and engineering publications. He is actually a PhD, a doctor in engineering physics. He was a research scientist and engineer at the National Research Council. He was a research manager for the Canadian Centre for Remote Sensing. He's a Canadian delegate for the UN Committee on Peaceful Uses of Space and UN World Space Conference. Was being the associate professor at a number of universities: Waterloo, York, Calgary, Simon Fraser University. But Hewie, get a load of this. You'll get it. Private industry. He worked for Taiga Systems and developed advanced software and hardware for the NRC, RCMP, and NADAC, and also designs Canada's Landsat processing system and led a foundational study for Canada's RadarSat program. He designed all the software for the satellites.
Wow.
he was the guy that did that. He also was the president and board chairman that specialized in satellite, airborne, drone, and image analysis for mapping and environmental monitoring. He served on many scientific committees and national and international symposiums about this. So Murray is a very smart guy. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of comments on some of our tech news. And Murray, of course, has agreed to also step in on Saturday mornings and help us record the tech news. So he'll be a good resource for us for all the satellite stuff that's happening. So we want to welcome Murray Strome. He's very approachable, a super nice guy, and I think going to be a very big asset for the show. The newsletter, of course, will continue on twice a week. I've made a few changes in the content this year. Further changes will be coming, but it will continue on a twice a week basis. Our educational video for the newsletter people will be available on the Saturdays. For the rest of you, it'll be available on the Tuesday, which was the day of the show.
Ron, you're also going to make a few changes in the website too, aren't you?
Yes, thank you for reminding me. Our website, I'm going to do a little video, and we're going to go over the changes on the website. So if you haven't been to www.techforsenior.com, please step over there and have a look. And again, I'm all eyes and ears open for any suggestions you have on change. But I think I've streamlined it. It looks quite. It's not finished yet, but I think it looks pretty good. So I'm happy with how things are. And if you want to look at our newsletter, they're all posted on our website. If you want to look at our most recent video that we've made on our Monday show, it's right there. You can watch it right on our website. So it is, if you're a bit mixed up and you can't find something, it's all there, real easy to find.
Good.
So that's our wrap on season 7. We're excited about this. This is, of course, our fundraising month. The next video that I'm going to show you now is about fundraising, but we're going to finish this segment off with the new outro that I've just finished for all our Tech for Senior shows, and this is the outro that we'll be playing. So I just wanted to let everybody know this identifies all the people that put a lot of hard work into our show every Monday. Any more comments, Hewie?
Nope. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. Bye now.
Our Monday show is recorded live and available on the Tech for Senior YouTube channel later in the day and includes tech news of the week, computer skills, photography, genealogy, and selections of music and videos. Join us in person for our 7th year of fun with technology.
I'm Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. This is Tech for Seniors Fundraising Month, helping seniors stay confident with technology. At Tech for Senior, our mission has always been simple. Help seniors feel comfortable, confident, and capable using today's technology. This month, we are hosting Tech for Seniors Fundraising Month, and we'd like to take a moment to reflect on what we've accomplished together and why your support matters. Now let's look at what we've accomplished together. Because of this incredible community, Tech for Senior has grown into a trusted resource for thousands of seniors over the past 7 years. Together, we have produced weekly live shows on real-world technology help, created hundreds of educational YouTube videos, explained computers, smartphone, photography, and now genealogy and online safety. We've helped seniors recognize and avoid online scams and introduce new technology like AI in a way that it's easy to understand. Most importantly, we have created a welcome space where seniors feel comfortable asking questions without fear of being judged. We regularly hear messages like, "I finally understand my phone," or "You've explained it better than anyone else, and tech doesn't scare me anymore." That impact means everything to us. While Tech for Senior is driven by volunteer time and passion, there are real costs involved in keeping everything running smoothly. Your support helps cover website hosting and maintenance, video production and editing tools, live streaming and broadcasting services, and the newsletter and communication platform. These behind-the-scenes expenses allow us to keep our content free, maintain reliable live shows, and continue creating clear, senior-friendly education. Fundraising ensures Tech for Senior remains sustainable and available to everyone who needs it. How can you help? If Tech for Senior has ever solved a tech problem for you, saved you time or frustration, or helped you feel more confident, we invite you to support us during our fundraising month. You can help by making a donation, and any amount helps. Sharing Tech for Senior with friends and family. We'd sure like to grow our audience, so sharing is important. Watch, liking, and sharing our videos. Supporting us on our YouTube channel is all a big plus for Tech for Senior. Every contribution directly supports the work we do. So I want to give you a big thank you for being part of our community. We are incredibly grateful and honored for your trust and encouragement. You've supported us for the past 7 years. Tech for Senior exists because of people like you. Together, we're proving every day that you're never too old to learn technology. Thank you for supporting Tech for Senior today and in the future. I just wanted to make one comment in closing. If you watch our show every week for a year, that is 52 episodes. If you donate at least $1 for each episode, and I'm sure you would appreciate that what we do is worth more than $1. But even if you just donate $1 for each show, that works out to $52. And I do understand that's a lot of money for you for the month of January. But we have many viewers who donate on a regular basis throughout the year. So if you can only contribute $20 in January, that's fine. But think about us through the rest of the year. And I'm sure everyone will come through as you always do, and we'll reach our funding goal this year. Hewie and I and all the Tech for Seniors team really appreciate your support and look forward to a great 2026 year.
Welcome to Tech for Senior and our weekly news update. We've got a lot to cover, so let's jump right into the latest in technology.
Good morning, I'm Ron Brown. This is Tech News of the Week with Tech for Senior. This is being recorded on January 3rd to be aired on our Monday show, January the 5th. Welcome, everyone. This is 2026 and a new year. With me today, of course, I have Hewie Popluck from Bradenton, Florida, and, of course, Mike Leaman from Moncton, New Brunswick. Hewie, let's get going with the news. The first article is, of course, Verizon is cracking down on 5G home internet customers who break the rules. Well, what are the rules? The rules are such that you should not move your 5G modem from your home. It is fixed to a physical address. If you do move it, this does affect the traffic in other areas. So Verizon doesn't want you to do that. And they're actually big fines, and you're not going to be a happy person if you do that. So if you do want to move your Verizon modem, your 5G modem, contact Verizon before you do it.
As usual, Samsung lets the cat out of the bag early. They probably aren't going to release the Samsung Galaxy S26 until February, but there's going to be some massive upgrades coming to it. And the Samsung Galaxy S26, they're going to bring the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 processor globally, faster charging, refined design, advanced AI features, privacy display tech, enhanced satellite connectivity, and a vastly upgraded 200 megapixel camera system. These upgrades combine performance, durability, and tighter ecosystem integration to make the S26 Ultra a more powerful and user-friendly flagship device than its predecessor. So that's not till February, but you got to start saving your money because they aren't going to be cheap. I use bone conduction headphones, and this is an article about don't buy them until you check 4 features. And those, before buying them, you should ensure they include essential features like secure fit, decent audio quality despite the open design, a good battery life, and reliable sweat and water resistance to match your use case. These criteria help you avoid common pitfalls of bone conduction models and choose a pair that truly performs well in real-world listening scenarios. I love mine.
CES. Do we all get
Yes.
to go? Maybe we should have a Tech for Senior budget and go to CES.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's probably not the budget that would sway me from not going. It's physically, it's a lot of walking and a lot of traveling, and it's a huge show. But what we're going to see in the next week, all of the news is going to be based, all the technology news is going to be based on what is being shown at CES. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be all types of articles and news reports and so on coming from CES.
Oh, this was the biocomputer. That was mine.
Okay.
Something new. Remember, we used to talk a lot about the BIOS, BIOS.
Yeah.
Well, now we're talking about the BIOS, but it's biological intelligence operating system, where they're actually taking neurons from a human brain and building a computer around it. And you can get one for about $30,000.
Oh, now hold on, Mike. Can you do it the other way around? Can he and I take some of these little chips and put them back in our brain, and that'll make us
we've
smarter.
been doing that for years if you listen to conspiracy theorists. But this is has something, because when you look at the efficiency of electronics versus the human brain, it doesn't even come close. So the efficiency goes way up here using neurons as opposed to electronics.
Florida's building a highway that can wirelessly charge EVs. Did you know that?
I did not. Mike Ungerman will be happy about that.
Yeah, and it's not too far from him either. It's State Road 516 with embedded wireless charging coils that can power compatible electric vehicles as they drive, aiming to reduce range anxiety and enhance charging convenience. The pilot project will begin construction this year. Actually, they've started on the road. They haven't added the charging stuff yet. And serve as a real-world test bed for dynamic EV charging. SpaceX will lower Starlink satellites to reduce collision risks. SpaceX will lower the Starlink satellites, and when we say lower them, we're saying they're going to take about 4,400 of them, and where they're about 550 kilometers, they're going to move them down to about 480 kilometer altitude to decrease the chance of collisions in the increasingly crowded low Earth orbit. They've got 9,000 satellites up there now, just SpaceX. And the lower orbit also helps satellites deorbit faster at the end of life, improving space safety at as the constellation grows towards tens of thousands of satellites. 130-inch OLED TV sticks to a wall with suction tech. And this is going to debut at CES next week. And it's called a displaced wall. Unveiled at CES, uses a jumbo 130-inch 4K OLED display, and it's active loop suction technology to literally stick to walls without drilling or traditional mounts, making installation easier and cleaner. Each panel is a self-powered by a removable battery and networked to act as one giant display or multiple screens, though its premium price likely will be for commercial or show environments only.
A major cable company is being sold to private equity. So if you heard of WOW, it's called the Wide Open West. It's called the cable company's called WOW, and they basically are selling all their cable services off and substituting with YouTube TV. I keep telling everyone the cable systems are gone. Anyway, this was WOW was gone, and they are going to be substituting their service with YouTube TV. This was interesting. I don't know how I feel about this. We know that the slow death of local newspapers, but Atlanta becomes the first major city in the United States without a daily newspaper. I don't know how you feel about that, but anyway, it is the sign of the times, I guess. This is an interesting article, Hewie. This is 5 popular apps that drain your smartphone's battery the most. Now, what's interesting, just let me get this up. Yeah, so the 5 apps are quite interesting. These are apps on your phone: Netflix, TikTok, YouTube, Threads, and Snapchat. So if you've got those in your phone and you're leaving them open and running, don't do that. You probably should shut those off, and those are big drains on your battery. This was a warning, and Apple brought this out, a warning people about charging their iPhones when they sleep. Now, if it is important, particularly with teenagers and children, that when they're charging their phones, the phones aren't in the bed with them or under the covers. These phones can get really hot, and certainly there is a fire hazard there. So please be careful, particularly with your children. Even the cables running to the phone, if they're under the bed, the cables get hot and pose a fire risk. So don't, just be careful. Be careful with this. And this is a warning from Apple. This is something that I think you should be aware of. If you have a Pixel watch, some of the, there is a bug in the Wear OS which causes problems with custom watch faces. So if you do have a Pixel watch, a current Pixel watch, and you're downloading custom faces, these aren't the stock faces that come with it, custom faces, and they're not working correctly, this is a bug in the OS 6, and Google's working on that as a fix. All right, we'll be moving into Murray's segment now, but just to remind everyone, if you wanted to look at any of those articles, they are all posted on our Facebook page, so you can just go and you can get more resources, more information on our Facebook page about those articles. All right, let's learn all about genealogy.
In the limited time we have today, I can offer only the briefest introduction to the concepts of DNA as used by genealogists. I will focus on a few core ideas that will help you make sense of DNA test results. You have all seen images like this, which illustrates the human genome. Your autosomal DNA is present in nearly every cell of your body and consists of about 3 billion base pairs. Most of these are the same for every human being who ever lived or will live in the future. Genealogy DNA testing companies have focused on about 700,000 that are most relevant for genealogical research. You'll notice one pair at the bottom labeled X and Y. That's what determines if you're male or female, but we'll dive deeper into those special chromosomes in a future session. Imagine that your mother's autosomal DNA is represented by a deck of playing cards with red backs, as in this diagram, while your father's autosomal DNA is represented by a deck with blue backs. You were conceived when one of your father's sperm cells entered one of your mother's eggs. This is where the most amazing magic, miracle, or whatever you want to call it, occurs. Think of it like this. Each of those decks of cards is separately shuffled, and half of your mother's cards are randomly picked and combined with half of your father's randomly picked cards. The remaining cards are discarded. These selected cards are then shuffled together, and that combined deck represents your DNA, which will be in almost every cell of your body. Your parents don't just hand you a stack of their own father's or mother's cards. They literally cut and paste them together to create a brand new, unique set of cards for you. This explains why you aren't just a collection of 4 grandparents, but a unique mosaic. It is the blueprint that tells the cells, as they divide, where to make each cell the right component. A piece of your ankle bone, a bit of your eye, and so for every cell of your body. And as those cells die, how to make a replacement. How this is done, I have no idea, and I don't think anyone else does either. Biologically, you get exactly half your autosomal DNA from each parent. DNA test reports say approximately 50% because of how the tests measure and report the data, not because your inheritance was uneven. So if you get exactly half your DNA from each parent, why do DNA test results usually say about 50%? The simple answer is that these tests examine only about 700,000 selected markers, called single nucleotide polymorphisms, SNP. Because 99.9% of human DNA is identical in everyone, scientists only look at these SNPs where humans are known to differ. It's like checking only the street names that change, rather than every single grain of sand on the road out of the 3 billion in your DNA, and many of those are filtered out. DNA is inherited in chunks, not evenly, so when only some locations are measured, the numbers don't come out perfectly. Small testing limits and statistical estimates add a little more variation. How much DNA do you share with your brother or sister? In this illustration, each fan of cards represents the DNA of you and your sibling. Both siblings received half of their DNA from the same mother, the red cards, and half from the same father, the blue cards. However, notice that the mix of red and blue cards is different in each fan. That's because each child inherits a different random selection from each parent. The decks were shuffled separately for each child. Because of this, Full siblings usually share about 50% of their autosomal DNA, but not exactly the same 50%. In practice, siblings typically share somewhere between about 37% and 63%. In theory, two siblings could inherit exactly the same mix, sharing 100% of their DNA, or inherit completely different mixes, sharing 0%. But the probability of either of those extremes is infinitesimally small. In genetic genealogy, the purely theoretical situation of zero sharing between siblings is sometimes jokingly called the evil twin scenario. This has never actually been observed in human history. In reality, the lowest amount ever recorded for full siblings is still well above 33%. I have talked about how DNA is passed from parents to children and shared among siblings. The next key idea is, what happens as we move further back in time through our family tree? With each generation, the amount of autosomal DNA you inherit from any one ancestor is cut roughly in half. You get about half from each parent, about a quarter from each grandparent, about an eighth from each great-grandparent, and so on. But here's the important point. While your family tree keeps doubling every generation, your DNA does not. DNA is passed down in chunks, and over time, many ancestors simply don't pass down any genealogically useful DNA at all. This means that, although someone may be your real, documented ancestor, you may share no detectable autosomal DNA with them, and therefore no DNA with many of their other descendants. This is perfectly normal and becomes increasingly common the further back you go. The same idea explains why you share less DNA with more distant cousins. You may share a noticeable amount with first cousins, a smaller amount with second cousins, and sometimes nothing at all with more distant cousins, even though you are genuinely related on paper. Eventually, you reach a point where DNA testing can no longer confirm every genealogical relationship, not because the records are wrong, but because the DNA has simply not survived the random shuffling process over many generations. Another way to illustrate the loss of DNA from older generations is through these diagrams. Genealogically, your ancestors all existed. You may not be able to determine who some of them were, but they did exist. The second diagram illustrates those genetic ancestors, who again, all existed. However, going back in time, there's some from whom you have no DNA. These are represented by the white areas. The further back you go, the more of these gaps will show up in each generation. Looking at another way, you will not share DNA with the descendants of those ancestors, distant cousins. This is why it is so important, from a genealogical perspective, that the oldest living members of a family have their DNA tested. They carry DNA that younger generations may never inherit. Once that generation is gone, that genetic information is gone forever. For most of you here today, you are that oldest generation. By testing your DNA, you are preserving a genetic record that can help children, grandchildren, and future genealogists confirm relationships, break through brick walls, and better understand where the family truly came from. Today, we have only touched on the part of DNA testing that is used by all of the major commercial testing companies, autosomal DNA. This type of DNA focuses on the 22 pairs of chromosomes found in the nucleus of nearly every cell in our bodies, and it is the most important and widely used DNA test for genealogical research. However, there is more to the story. We have not discussed the 23rd pair of chromosomes, which determines biological sex and involves the X and Y chromosomes, nor have we explored mitochondrial DNA, which is smaller, inherited differently, and located outside the nucleus in the mitochondria of our cells. These additional types of DNA follow different inheritance patterns and can answer different kinds of genealogical questions. I plan to introduce them in future presentations.
Well done. Well done. I think this is going to be a great year, Hewie. This is going to be well done, Murray. That was great. I really enjoyed the
I just want to mention that that Ancestry still has their sale on their DNA kits and other things until January 7th. If you haven't had your DNA tested, that's a good option.
good one. All right. Let's get on and see what Drew has to say.
Hi, this is Drew King. bringing you an introduction to the Recoll document indexing software. Recoll document indexing software is available at recoll.org. There are versions for the Mac, Linux, and Windows. Linux and Mac are free. However, the author of the program does require that you pay €5, a small donation, to get the Windows version. And I purchased it through PayPal, and it cost me, I think, about somewhere $6 and change. It was less than $7. And you can put it on all your machines. And Recoll creates a persistent database that contains all index files, including the contents of those files. Files like Office documents, spreadsheets, PDFs, along with other file types. Mozilla Thunderbird is also supported. So I use Mozilla Thunderbird for my email. Recoll indexes and can even index a Microsoft Word document stored as an attachment to an email inside a Thunderbird folder archived in a zip file. Think about that. It can actually look inside a folder in Thunderbird, inside a zip file, and read the contents of the Word file. There is little that will remain hidden on your disk. This is the list of file types that are supported in the Windows version. You can see there's Microsoft Word, which includes all of the Office files, PDF files, and a bunch of Joplin note files, zip files, MP4 file audio, images, and videos. So there's a lot that it covers. Windows can index some files, but it's only your local drives and Microsoft OneDrive. No options for Google Drive, pCloud, or any other cloud storage. Inside the Recoll app settings, you can choose where you would like to index, and that's right in here. When you donate €5, you can download and use the Windows version. Payment went through PayPal for me. And important notice, as soon as you pay with PayPal, you get given the download link for Windows. Bookmark it immediately or otherwise save that location. I had to write to the developer to get the download link. Recoll on Linux, Ubuntu, and Mint. On Ubuntu, it comes with in their repository an old version. What you need to do is follow this procedure, which is also, I just copied this from their website. You run sudo add app repository, followed by this Recoll backports stuff, and then you run sudo apt-get update, sudo apt-get install Recoll. You'll get the latest version of Recoll, and you'll be automatically updated. If you have Linux Mint, you use the same procedure as you do for Ubuntu. The Linux version requires external helpers for PDF files and Microsoft Office files. They don't scan those by default. You need to be able to execute the PDF to text command, which comes with popular utils, and Microsoft Office needs anti-word. Both are available in the Ubuntu repository. And now on to the demo. And we're going to catch here, and we're going to go into Recoll. And just to go quickly through the menu, I can stop indexing. Right now, I'm running what's called the real-time indexer. So it's just constantly looking at things in the background and keeping things up to date. You can have all kinds of different query terms. You can look at results. You can change the font size. Under tools, this is where indexing statistics. Number of documents, 477,189. Smallest document in length, longest document in length. Let's see, it has MIME type, Message RFC822, that is my Thunderbird mail. It's suggesting that it has indexed 425,007 items in my Thunderbird. My Thunderbird mail goes back, 20 years. So that's why it is that way. And these are all my other statistics. Important in here, under preferences, under index configuration, this is where I have set up where I want it to index, where I don't want it to index. And by default, it's going to have an entry in here to scan your entire home folder. You want to remove that because it's going to grab your app data folders. And I don't know, I haven't figured out 100% if this actually works to stop it from accessing there. So I just got rid of it from here. Other than that, that's the product. I'll do one search on Gil King, who's my dad, and we'll do a search, and we'll search documents and users. Come on. Why is it not here? Percent Gil King. And nothing. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. Now, if you click on this up arrow here, it searches files that are the oldest files. Like here's one from 2007. And if I hit preview, it says from Gil King at AOL.com, and I can read the email. If I choose to, I can click open, and it will open it into Thunderbird. And here is my email that is in my real Thunderbird email. I just wouldn't be able to pull it up this quickly if I wanted to search for something. Oops. I can also search for documents if I go into here and say that I want to search for the word Metzler, and I'm going to do it only in my documents. And here is 𝕃𝕀𝕂𝔼.xlsx, and I will preview it, and there's Metzler right there, highlighted in purple. And if I wanted to, I could open it, and it'll go directly into LibreOffice Calc, and there's Metzler. So it's very useful and quick to find whatever it is you're looking for. Anyway, this is Recoll.
Have you ever looked at your iPhone or your Mac and wondered if it has some kind of secret self-destruct timer? Well, today, we're digging into what really happens when Apple decides your shiny device has officially reached the end of the line. And more importantly, what it means for you.
So let's just get right to it. Is your Apple device secretly expiring? You probably don't even think about it until something goes wrong, but the short answer? Yeah, it absolutely is.
And look, this isn't some abstract problem for 10 years down the road. We're talking about this right now because Apple just added 5 more pretty popular products to its obsolete list. For a whole lot of people, this just got very, very real.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, we have to speak Apple's language. They have a very specific system for this whole process, and there are 2 key terms you absolutely need to know: vintage and obsolete.
Think of it like this. A device hits vintage status 5 years after Apple stops selling it. That's kind of like the yellow warning light. You can still try to get it repaired, but it's a huge if. It all comes down to whether they can even find the parts. But obsolete, that's the hard stop. 7 years after sales end, and it is the end of the road. No more service, period.
So here's the typical life story of an Apple gadget. It launches, you buy it, it's amazing. Then, 5 years after it's pulled from the shelves, it quietly slips into that vintage category.
Then just 2 years after that, at the 7-year mark, it's officially game over. It's obsolete. And this quote really drives the point home. It's not that Apple is just being difficult, it's a full-on system-wide shutdown for that product. Once it's obsolete, even your local authorized repair shop literally cannot order the parts anymore. Your device is on its own. All right, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Who just got the bad news in this latest round? Let's take a look at the actual products that are now on the list.
And wow, some real legends are on here. The original iPhone SE, I mean, everybody loved that thing for its small size. It's now officially obsolete. Same goes for that super light 11-inch MacBook Air from 2015, plus a couple of really popular MacBook Pro models from 2017. So if you're still using one of these, your official repair options have just vanished. Now this is where things get a little weird, especially if you own an Apple Watch. So if you have a regular, standard Series 4 watch, you're in the vintage category. Repairs might still be possible. But if you splurged on the Nike or the fancy ℙ𝕝𝕝 version of that exact same watch, sorry, those are now obsolete. It all depends on which one you pick to check out.
Okay, so you can't get your screen fixed. That's a hassle, for sure. But honestly, that's just an inconvenience. The real conversation we need to have isn't about hardware. It's about a much, much bigger problem: your security.
This right here is the #1 reason to be concerned. It's not about the hardware failing, it's the software that's left behind. Long before your battery dies, your device probably stopped getting those critical iOS updates. And those updates aren't just for new features, they're plugging security holes that could expose all of your data.
And this chart just lays it all out, doesn't it? The biggest risk by far of holding on to an older device isn't that you'll drop it, it's that it'll get hacked. Those security vulnerabilities tower over every other concern.
And there's another problem that just kind of creeps up on you. Even if your device works perfectly fine, it starts to become an outsider in its own family. New apps won't run. Features you rely on, like AirDrop, might not work with newer devices. You slowly get pushed out of that seamless Apple ecosystem, which is a huge reason most of us bought in to begin with.
Okay, I know this all sounds a little doom and gloom, but the goal here isn't to scare you. It's to get you prepared, because you can actually be smart about this and make sure you never get caught by surprise.
So here's a really simple 4-step plan. First, figure out exactly what device model you have. You can find it right in your settings. Second, just Google Apple Vintage and Obsolete list and see where your device stands. Third, be honest with yourself about your security. And finally, based on all that, start thinking about your upgrade plan before it becomes an emergency.
And here is a huge pro tip, something you really need to hear. Don't treat that 7-year window as a guarantee, it's more of a guideline. If Apple runs out of a specific part for your device early, they can slap that obsolete label on it ahead of schedule. So it's always better to be prepared.
When you boil it all down, what we're really talking about here is a concept called planned obsolescence. It's this idea that things are built with a limited lifespan in mind. And while it can feel unfair, it's pretty much the fundamental trade-off we all make. We get access to this amazing, rapidly changing technology, but the price of admission is that yesterday's magic trick becomes tomorrow's paperweight.
Which really just leaves us with one last big question to think about. Is this a fair price to pay for innovation? When you spend hundreds, maybe thousands, on a new device, is the constant march of new features worth knowing that one day it's guaranteed to be left behind? It's definitely something to chew on.
Okay, Murray, just before you get going, I'm just going to say goodbye to our YouTube friends. If you're over on YouTube watching the show, we'll be, you certainly can come over now to our main show now if you want to participate in the Q&A. If not, don't forget our premier educational video is now up and running, so you can have a look at that. And we will see you back same time, same place next week.
So today, notable music and entertainment events for January the 5th. Some music milestones and debuts on this day. 1979, Prince's live debut. The 20-year-old Prince performed his first ever public show at the Capri Theater in Minneapolis. Now here's the neat part. Executives from Warner Brothers attended, but famously felt that he and his band needed more time before touring extensively. Guess those guys made the wrong call. 1973, Bruce Springsteen's debut album, The Boss, released his debut studio album, Greetings from Ashbury Park, New Jersey. Through it, though it was not an immediate commercial hit, it laid the foundation for his legendary career. 1978, the Sex Pistols made their US debut. The pioneers of the UK punk rock band era became their first and only US tour at the Great Southeast Music Hall in Atlanta.
I
The chaotic tour would lead to the band's breakup just weeks later. 1965, the Supremes recorded their signature hit, Stop in the Name of Love, at Motown's Hitsville, USA studio. The single went on to be their fourth consecutive #1 single. Buddy Holly's final release in 1959, Coral Records released It Doesn't Matter Anymore, which proved to be the last single released before Buddy Holly's lifetime. He tragically died in a plane crash less than a month later. Some major passings on this day. 1998, Sonny Bono, the singer, producer, politician, and one half of the famous duo Sonny and Cher, died in a skiing accident at the age of 62. 1979, Charles Mingus, the legendary jazz double bassist, composer, and band leader, died at the age of 56. He is remembered as one of the greatest jazz innovators of all time. 1976, Mal Evans, longtime road manager, assistant, and fifth Beatle figure for the Beatles, was tragically shot and killed by police in Los Angeles following a domestic dispute. Notable birthdays: Robert Duvall in 1931, Oscar-winning legendary actor for The Godfather and Apocalypse Now. Diane Keaton, 1946, Oscar-winning actress and style icon, best known for her roles in Annie Hall and The Godfather. Also going to be featured in today's Prime Pick. Chris Stein, co-founder and guitarist for the new wave band Blondie. Marilyn Manson, provocative rock singer and songwriter. Bradley Cooper, the Oscar-nominated actor and director from A Star is Born and The Hangover. Deadmoo 5, Canadian electronic music producer and DJ. Deepika Padukone, I guess I got that close, one of the highest paid actresses in the Indian cinema, Bollywood. That brings us to today's Prime Pick of the Week. And today I've selected a movie from 2015. It's appearing on Amazon Prime. It's entitled 5 Flights Up. A longtime married couple who spent their lives together in the same New York apartment become overwhelmed by personal and real estate related issues when they plan to move away. Stars Diane Keaton, who we mentioned earlier, who also just recently passed away, and Morgan Freeman. Great movie, by the way. And the music selection for today from Buddy Holly, It Doesn't Matter Anymore. So I'll select these and put them in the chat, and I'll stop my share, Ron, and you can take this away. And that's this week's music selection and our pick hit of the week. A little bit of a sneak peek for next week, Robert De Niro in a comedy, and it's not one to be missed.
Thanks so much, Mike. That's great. I'm going to watch that video. I have a big announcement, Hewie, to make. I just want to let everybody know this is exciting. Now listen everybody up. First of all, nobody left the show. We had a constant number of people through the whole show right up until right now, and they all stayed. So it means the programming, they must like it, Hewie. The second thing is I set our budget for our financial budget this year for $1,500. As to date, we're just under $700. We almost got half the amount in the first show. So I think we're off to a very, very good start. It appears people like us. They also listen to all the great shows today. We had just a superb group of people giving talks today. I thought they were so interesting. I think we're on track for a great season 7. What do you think, Hewie?
I am anxious to, glad we got started with it, and it's going to be a great year. Absolutely.
I think it's going to be a great year.
Gung-ho about it.
Our Monday show is recorded live and available on the Tech for Senior YouTube channel later in the day and includes tech news of the week, computer skills, photography, genealogy, and selections of music and videos. Join us in person for our 7th year of fun with technology.